Listen, I know you have a take on this. If you've seen the story, then you have a take. Was it a date? Was it just dinner? I don't know. I don't know what it was, but Katy Perry, Justin Trudeau at a swanky restaurant in Montreal went for a stroll together. TMZ gets this video, and then it's viral and it's everywhere. I'll tell you this, I'm not above getting to the speculation. In fact, I'm going to do it. My name is Elamin Abdelmahmoud. This show is called Commotion. Lainey Louise here, aka Lainey Gossip. Lainey, listen to this song. Come on, are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? What an opportunity to play firework. Good morning, Lainey. How's it going?
Good morning.
How
are you?
I'm delighted. I'm delighted by everything that has to do with the story. I'm delighted by the way that the office lit up the minute that the story sort of broke. What is it? What is it about the story that makes it okay for all of us to go, yeah, I'm getting to the speculation business. Let me get in there.
Well, I mean, first of all, we all love love. It's the summer of love. There are new celebrity couples popping up all over the place this summer. But these two, they're celebrities. I know Justin Trudeau was the former Prime Minister of Canada. He's a politician, but also a celebrity. And the fact that two very famous people who like none of us would have ever linked up and, you know, put on our prediction board of new hot couple actually went out for dinner and, you know, the leaning in and talking and seeming to be flirting. This was made for me, my job. Thank you. I'm a gossip columnist. I needed this.
I was gonna say, like, I should just explain for people listening on the radio, like the grin on your face is miles wide because of this kind of story, and I love that. I love that for you. But I particularly love that for you because you're right to say, like, it is this summer of love. It is this, you know, it's landing in a week where you get an opportunity to look at couples and go, I believe them. I don't believe them. I believe them. I don't believe them. Like Tom Cruise and Ana de Armas, I don't believe them. Liam Neeson, Pamela Anderson, I think that's love forever, you know? And then this story lands in the middle of that entire storm. What do we know? What do we know about Katy Perry and Justin Trudeau and their time together?
Okay, so as of the last 24 hours, what we know is that they were in Montreal and they actually went for a walk. Before the dinner that was seen around the world, they actually went for a walk for like an hour and a half or so. Then he dropped her off at her hotel. She went and changed, and then they met up again for dinner. So it's a two-part date, Elamin, a two-part date, right? Like you're spending hours together. Her dog was with them. So this is what we know. Now, according to the chef at the restaurant Le Violon in Montreal, there was no PDA and it did not seem romantic. We do not need the chef's input, okay?
Yeah, stay out of it, chef. Get out of here. Yeah. Not interested in that narrative.
We don't need the input. We can see the body language. And now everybody's talking about it. What I can tell you that hasn't been widely reported is that, yes, Justin Trudeau is on the scene and has been dating. So previously there were rumors that he was actually seeing someone in St. John's. And as of like 6 weeks ago, that was like the last time I heard about that rumor. I've since heard that that is definitely over. But he was seen in St. John's in the past dating this woman. So he's like out there. He's had options. And currently the option that he may be exploring in Love Island terms is Katy Perry.
Trudeau in the tabloids, we are so back. We've never possibly been more back than this particular moment. I want to read the last line of TMZ's post for you. They said, we'll be watching these two like hawks for any love sparks flying. You know that both of them are just fine with being watched and gossiped about. But like, otherwise they wouldn't have met up in public in a restaurant. What does it tell you that they're like, we know people are going to see this and take videos of this and we're going to post it? What does it tell you that they knew that was going to happen and they still did it anyway?
Well, first of all, there's plausible deniability here because, you know, they would never admit that they wanted to be seen. But as you mentioned, both of these people have the resources to go out in private to a private dining room or also a private residence or whatever and not be seen.
Yeah.
What does this tell me? It tells me that like they miss the attention and positive attention because let's be real, no matter what your political affiliation, I think we can agree that Justin Trudeau has been flopping. Hasn't been a great, like...
What? I've seen the news stories. Yes, 100%. Continue.
Hasn't been a great year and a half, 2 years. Katy Perry also has been flopping. Like, hasn't been a great, you know, the new album isn't doing great. She's getting mocked. The tour
has not been getting great reviews. Yeah.
Exactly. The space trip was terribly received. So both of these people are at the same place in their career, kind of in their flop eras. And there's nothing like a hot new romance to turn the flop fortunes around and take a flop, take it from a flop to momentum. So this is the best. Yesterday was the best day they both have had in PR speak in a long time.
I do have to say that, like, for people who are confused about this, if you've just ever followed the way that the world of celebrity gossip works, you just kind of understand that two people down on their luck meeting one another is an instant, like, oh, you just combine the star factors. And so kind of instantly, you know, you get a bit of coverage and you sort of begin to turn the page on whatever flops you previously sort of had. If folks are just joining us, I'm Elamin Abdelmahmoud, and this show is called Commotion. Lainey Louie's here, and we are talking about was it a date? Was it not a date? I don't know. It's a big question. You cover politics, Justin Ling, and you're coming in here because, Justin, get in here. I saw you reacting as Lainey was sort of talking about, like, oh, it was a 2-part date. You're like, no, it was a 3-part date. I saw you put up your hand and go like, no, it was 3. Okay. You covering politics, watching this story, Lainey just pointed out this idea that they could have done this in private. They could have done a lot of things in private. You know, we've seen Xavier Trudeau and Justin Trudeau just came back from a trip to Europe. Again, that could have been a thing that happens in silence. The fact that it's happening publicly, when you think about Justin Trudeau as a political figure, how do you think about this sort of being in conversation with the way that he was as a politician?
So for starters, I swear I'm not coming for Lainey's job as a gossip columnist, but I you know, I do live here in Montreal. I have connections. I have some sources, and I can tell you that when they booked the reservation for this dinner, that they were pretty upfront. They knew there was going to be paparazzi outside, or at least people taking photos or whatever. They intentionally did not do this as a private dinner. It has been speculated that this was a soft launch. Again, not my business. I swear I'm not.
A little bit your business, but that's okay.
So you know, people who maybe have that pain of like, oh well, they should be allowed to have this in private. They know they're having it in public. It's on purpose, and you'll always have to remember that so much of what Justin Trudeau does is following in the footsteps of his father. His father famously was a tabloid king after, even when he was still in office. You know, he dated Kim Cattrall in his later years. He dated Barbara Streisand quite publicly, or it was at least publicly speculated. Yeah. So a lot of this is very purposeful. And, you know, to some degree, when he was prime minister, he was kind of this hybrid celebrity politician, and he was always like this. He loves hobnobbing with American celebrities. He loves being in the limelight. He likes being kind of performative. And now that he's out of office, he's just doing this kind of without all of the baggage of actually having to lead a country. What this is setting him up for in the next step is going to be interesting. I don't know that I actually care, but certainly I think there's going to be a lot more of it.
I do think that, like, some of the public appearances and sort of public performances after like his resignation, after he was no longer prime minister, have been befuddling to me, Lainey. Like, for example, I think like the first photo that he posted on Instagram after he was no longer prime minister was like a trip to Canadian Tire, but the caption was posted in English and French, and I was like, what is that? I don't know what compels a person to do that after you're no longer holding that office, but the idea that, like, you still sort of like want to maintain the appearance of being like, I'm everybody's person. I sort of belong to everybody. So like when you listen to what Justin Ling just said there, what's your take on that? The idea that this sort of coheres with Trudeau as a hybrid politician and celebrity.
I 100% agree with what Justin said, and thank you for being my source. I will quote you later in my column about the reservation.
That's how it happens. Yes.
And so I 100% agree with the image of Justin Trudeau and like the legacy he comes from. And his father was a tabloid prime minister in terms of like being, I don't know, in the politics write-ups, but also there was so much interest in his personal life because he was single, right? Like he was single for so much of the time of he was in office. But it also kind of feeds into a classic rom-com trope. You know, right? The single politician, ex-politician, the pop star coming together. And he knows this too. I mean, this is also a prime minister who's pretty tapped in with pop culture.
Yeah.
He was at all the Star Wars premieres and he was like taking pictures with BB-8 and whatever, right? So he very much understands what pop culture is. He very much understood what it would be like for him to show up at the Taylor Swift concert and rock out to Taylor Swift. So this is 100% the prime minister and celebrity I know to be as Justin Trudeau. I don't think that this doesn't track. So it's not like an about face. It's not a pivot to a new personality. This person is quite familiar to us. And Katy Perry is quite familiar to us.
Yeah.
And I actually think this is a good match because, you know, you're talking about the Canadian Tire thing as, was it a little corny?
Yes.
I'm not trying to put words in your mouth.
No, let me just answer that question. Yes, it was. Yes.
Exactly. It was a little corny, but so is Katy Perry. She's corny AF, right? Like, you know, so to me, this is a match made in rom-com heaven. Like, of course I'm rejoicing because this makes my job easier to talk about. Like, I get it. I have a personal investment in this, but also this is just, I mean, it was written, it was scripted. I know this is a random hookup, but at the same time, when I think about it, I'm like, everything lines up. The math is mathing.
I got like a minute and a half left here, and I want to ask two quick questions. Number one, Lainey, over to you. Like this idea of like Xavier Trudeau, his son, he's trying to start a music career at the moment. Is there a world where it's like this is just like a networking dinner, you know, and we could read it as like he's trying to like, can I get some pointers for my son? Can we FaceTime Max Martin together? You know, is that a reasonable read of what's happening here?
Sure. It's just that as we talked about the fact that this was a 2 or 3 part date, you can have that conversation on Zoom. You can have it even over a dinner. You don't need to go on like a walk with your dog, enjoying the summertime in Montreal. You know, like, I don't think that is required. Please do not rain on my parade, Elamin. Like,
I won't. I'm not the chef. I'm not the chef from the restaurant. I'm not going to do that. I would not do that to you. Justin, last word to you. Katy Perry plays Montreal tonight. Is Justin Trudeau going to be there? What are your sources telling you, pal? Okay, let's go.
Well, I mean, of course he's going to be there. And let me just say, you know, I live in Montreal. They walked through Parc La Fontaine. They had drinks on the terrace at Taverne Atlantique. That is the most Montreal date thing I have ever heard. Of course it was a date. Do I want it to be that he's going to space? I guess so. But no, come on. It's obviously a date.
Okay. We got to leave it there. I really appreciate your time. You guys are the best. Thank you so much for your time. Thanks for being here. More on this later. Okay. Talk soon. Lainey Louise, eTalk senior correspondent and the founder of LaineyGossip.com. She's in Toronto. Justin Ling is a freelance journalist. He's in Montreal.